I have a thing that I want to talk to you guys about. Now, this is going to be spoilers for anyone that doesn't want spoilers. It's kind of big. I don't know when this will be a big bad. I don't know when this war will be a big war, but I know that it's coming. There is a giant war coming in World of Warcraft. And by the time that war arrives, I don't think we'll be ready for it. There is a conversation currently on the PTR that does some incredible stuff. The conversation is between Faerun and Anduin. Faerun is the chick that has lost her arm and her eye. She is a Rathian. Faerun and Anduin talk about Faerun's homeland, a place purely known as the Empire. A couple of very interesting things start to come out of that. Now, please note, what we know about the Empire is as follows. We know that they were Arathians, so they lived in Arathi Highlands. They left the Arathi Highlands at some point. We're not entirely sure, at least from the information that I currently have. I don't think we know when they left Arathi. We do know that they left, and they went somewhere. Again, we have no idea where they went. What we know about the Empire is that it is magnificent. That's the word Faerun used. She says it is magnificent and bathed in light. It also suggests that as a people, so culturally, what do these people act as? What are they like? They appear to be incredibly stoic and also incredibly one-track minded. It appears as if there is some form of caste system almost in that place, where Faerun tells Anduin if her parents had their way, she would have been in a library somewhere studying or doing economics. So some form of caste system. The way she escaped that life is by stowing away on a ship, the very ship that came to the center of the earth, so to speak, that is now cut off from the Empire. They can't go back to the Empire. Now, the other thing, culturally at least, that seems to stand out is that this Empire is incredibly xenophobic. Anduin makes mention of the fact that he would love to meet the Emperor of the Empire. He would like to go there one day. And she smiles, but almost warily smiles. And she goes, I don't think that would be a good idea. The Empire would not take kindly to you or to the beings that you align yourself with. The Empire does not accept anyone that isn't human, and perhaps even more importantly, anyone that is an Arathian. We know a couple of other things about the world, at least, that the Arathians now call home, the Empire. We know that there are no dragons, or their dragons are very different. When Anduin talks about his friendship with Rathian, Faerun is surprised. Faerun is almost shocked. And her explanation for why she is shocked suggests to us one of two things. Either they have no dragons there, or the dragons that they have very, very different. Because she says, you're friends with a giant creature that roams the lands and grants wishes. Now, anyone that knows anything about our dragons know that yes, they're giant, and yes, they roam the land, but no, they do not grant wishes. Okay? So, either they have dragons that grant wishes, or they don't have dragons, they only have stories of dragons. And it would track that they have stories of dragons because Nalfarian was a dragon who we know infiltrated Arathi and Lordaeron at some point in time, and he did in some way grant wishes, although it wasn't the wishes that, it wasn't like a genie granting wishes, it was more, he was doing favors in order to gain higher esteem so that he could infiltrate and ultimately cause riots where he went. So yes, their land has no dragons. They also refer to their land as the mainland. So they don't recognize the Eastern Kingdoms or Kalimdor as legitimate mainlands, suggesting that they have been there for a number of generations. In fact, they must have been there long enough that most of those people have forgotten about the lands to the west or to the east of them. We don't know exactly where they exist, but so in other words, it's not 2 or 3 generations. It would be closer to 10 generations maybe that they've been gone, because they don't remember really anything about Kalimdor or Eastern Kingdoms, or that is where they originally came from. Here's where things get interesting about Accolonn. It could be Accolonn, but remember that we have the story in Dragonflight of the green dragon that traveled across the sea, and everyone thought that that green dragon had died, but a lot of the green dragons have had dreams about this green dragon that have found a new clutch. This gives us a bit of insight into Azeroth. It suggests that there are at least 2 more continents. The one where the green dragon went and found a new clutch, and the one where the Arathians come from. Because we know that the Arathians don't have dragons. And if they do, their dragons aren't anything like our dragons, so it can't be the green dragons. So we know at least of 2 more lands. They may be Accolonn, they may not be Accolonn. Are you telling me that there is a much bigger continent? So Grofile, according to the lore at least, here is how things stand. In the Chronicles, the Titans choose Kalimdor, the Land of Eternal Stars, not because it is the only continent on Azeroth, not even because it is the biggest continent on Azeroth. They choose Kalimdor, the Land of Eternal Stars, so this is before Kalimdor split into the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. They choose that because it is one of the bigger continents on Azeroth. That's the exact line that is used. One of the bigger continents on Azeroth. Right? So clearly there are other continents out there. And if those continents didn't go through the same struggles that ours went through, because remember, Eastern Kingdoms, all of the continents that we currently have available to go to, this is Northern Eastern Kingdoms, Kalimdor, Pandaria, the middle islands that you have there, including the Dragon Island or the Dragon Isles, they were all part of Kalimdor, the Land of Eternal Stars. So it is entire, and remember, it's because of Sargeras being summoned into our world that all of these planets, or this continent, would eventually be sundered. So this continent would eventually split apart, and we would now have these land masses. But imagine all of those land masses being one thing again. Now imagine other continents being that size. That might be how big their land is. That might be how big the Empire's land is. The size of the old Land of Eternal Stars. Which is why to them there is no other Azeroth. We know that they have no fealty or loyalty to Anduin Wrynn. Because Faerun warns Anduin. You believe me, you don't. Let me see if I can find the line for you guys. Here we go. So Faerun says to him, vast, powerful, and bathed in the light. The Empire is a force to be reckoned with. Anduin says, it sounds like a visit would be an interesting journey. Now, Anduin is a king. A king visiting a fellow human kingdom, it kind of makes sense, right? Why wouldn't he? Especially considering that historically, these people, the Arathians, would be part of his subjects. Faerun answers and says, to be honest, I'm not sure how kindly the mainland would take to the variety of peoples you all keep company with. We in Hallowfall know beggars can't be choosers. We need all the help we can get, and you all have proven to be fine folk. But the Empire is not so open-minded or so desperate. This suggests, by the way, that the Empire is incredibly powerful. In fact, the Empire is powerful enough that it is not desperate. It is not in need of allies. It is powerful enough on its own. This brings war back into World of Warcraft in a very real way. And it almost sets the stage for an eternal war that you don't ever have to bring to an end. Right? Because one of the biggest problems with the war between the Horde and the Alliance have always been it can't be eternal, it can't continuously go on because we have bigger fish to fry. But what if you introduced an enemy that is so powerful, that is so vast, and that is so xenophobic in its approach that it will never accept you as an ally? Now, for the keen 40k viewers and the 40k fans, you will immediately know what this Empire sounds like. Instantly, you will know what this Empire sounds like. Not only that, but there is even a bigger throwback to Warhammer 40k. The Empire has a game that they play, a sort of tabletop game, where you paint minis. I kid you not. Farron tells Anduin that was her hardest challenge, learning how to make a mini with one hand and painting it with one hand. Dude, it is obvious. The Empire is the Imperium of Man. Now, very quick overview for those of you that aren't 40k fans. The Imperium of Man, humans of Terra. Terra is Earth. The Imperium of Man is xenophobic to the nth degree. They stand for no fucking alien races. They hate anything that isn't human, and they have a pretty much a kill on sight policy when it comes to anything that isn't human. Yeah, the Imperium of Man is, they hate everything, right? And they're very stringent in their rules. Very, very, they have a saying in the Imperium of Man, which is loyalty is its own reward, right? They do not fuck around. They serve the Emperor of mankind. And it's interesting that the Empire's ruler is also called the Emperor. But they serve the Emperor with absolute fealty and loyalty. They do not go against the Emperor of mankind. So, yeah. A way to expand the game beyond the saga. Holy crap. Michael, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. It presents itself so perfectly on a platter. And what's more, Blizzard is already introducing the Empire at the start of the saga. So by the time we get to the end of the World Soul Saga, the Empire is so known to us that when we get the expansion that finally takes us to the Empire, bro, we're all gonna be chomping at the fucking bit to go there, right?